Yesterday, I set out to create a simple series of AI prompts that anyone can use to turn an AI writer like Google Gemini or ChatGPT into a content creation machine. And it didn't take me long to get it done. I tested this series of prompts on Gemini and on ChatGPT. It worked really well on both of them, and each of them took me down a completely different but equally viable content marketing path. And I think it'll be really helpful to share that with you today. If you're ready to implement these AI prompts for your own business, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you're not on my email list, follow the first link in the description to this landing page where you can click this button and fill out a form that will add you to my email list, and magical marketing automation will grant you access to this list of AI marketing prompts. The main prompt we're working with today is number 30 on this list. I just added it, and this is what it looks like with really big text in Google Docs. My name is Alex. I'm a digital marketer with Lover Fighter Writer, and the goal of my business has always been to help other business owners have the type of impact on the world that they want to have. And so if you have a product or a service that you really believe in, and you need some help getting it out there and communicating with your ideal customers, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to work with you. And this is not really a beginner level prompt. If you are not already quite familiar with your customer avatar or your main market segment or something like that, then you will probably struggle to use this prompt. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I want you to go on my YouTube channel and search in my videos for customer avatar. And I have 1 or 2 videos where you can get a free customer avatar worksheet, and it explains exactly what one is and how to create it. And once you've done that, then you'll be prepared for this, because in order to use this prompt, you have to be able to specify your customer avatar fairly well. And the aim of this prompt is not just to create content for a brand, it is to create content that is going to generate interest in your offer from your ideal target customer. And this is the type of content which can later be turned into advertisements because it's both engaging and sales-oriented. The prompt is, I'm creating content for an audience that is placeholder for audience details, interested in, placeholder for topics that they're interested in, and wanting to, placeholder for their main goal or aspiration that your offer will help them achieve. Then we have, they are used to consuming content on social media and YouTube on topics such as, placeholder for content types and topics. And then we have, what kind of organic content can I create that will engage them the same way as their typical content of choice, but also promote my, placeholder for my offer. So again, this isn't really a beginner level prompt. There's a lot going on here. But if you have your customer avatar nailed down fairly well, this should all be pretty easy to fill out. You should know what type of people are primarily going to be interested in your offer and what specific segments of that audience you're going to be targeting with your content or with your advertisement. And part of that is understanding where these people are likely to consume content online for news or education or entertainment purposes. And so for most people, that's YouTube or one of various social media platforms. And so you could replace the social media and YouTube part with TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is that you think your audience goes to for their content consumption. And then, of course, you have to have some sort of offer. Now, this doesn't have to be a super well-developed offer. It could be like, I provide this service or I have this product. And remember, you can get this exact prompt in my AI marketing prompt spreadsheet. You just need to use the link in the description to visit this landing page and sign up for my email list. All right, I decided to use this prompt to help me come up with ideas for a separate brand that I'm working on developing. And I decided to run this prompt with the custom gem, which is like a custom GPT on Gemini. So I created a custom gem as a content writer for this brand. And so I'm doing this exercise with my custom gem. And I also did this exercise the exact same way with ChatGPT. And this is just the free version of ChatGPT. I think we're currently on ChatGPT 5. It just came out recently. And we'll start with Gemini. Now, I started them the exact same way. I just used the prompt that I just showed you, and I filled out the information for my brand. And right away, Gemini gave me some ideas that I really liked, including something that I had already thought about myself. So the ideas were a fighter's journey series where we create content about a specific combat athlete's training camp. Then we have a behind the highlight reel breakdown where I would break down the preparation and technique and strategy that went into a highlight knockout or something like that. Then we have a combat fitness challenge, which would be like a 15-day or a 30-day fitness challenge. And it has some ideas for themes around specific combat athletes. Then it has the my story, telling my own fitness origin story or one of the stories from my journey, which is something I've already done and something I've considered doing and something I definitely will do more of. And then it has a suggestion for using memes that can relate to my product. And so number 4 is one that I've actually already started using. And number 1 is one that I have already been considering using. So I decided to go with number 1, but I wanted it to be a little bit different than what it described. So I said, I like idea 1, but instead of focusing on training camps, I want to make it a story about a specific struggle the fighter went through in life and how it relates to fitness and overall personal growth. Can you list some famous MMA fighters who have had biographies and or autobiographies published in the past 10 years? And the reason that I asked it for MMA fighters who have had biographies published is because if they've published a book with information about them, then they can't really get mad at people for using that information in content. It's kind of like the best way to know that you're not using information that they would prefer not be broadcast. So that was just why I said that. And it immediately came out with some really good suggestions, including Ronda Rousey, Mark Hunt, Michael Bisping, and George St. Pierre. And to be honest, I think any of these would be a great choice, but I decided to go with Bisping because I happen to think he's a really interesting guy. I know quite a bit about him. And my next prompt was write a story-based post about one of Bisping's specific struggles and relate it to my product, Alex's Wellness and Weight Loss Library. And so it did a pretty good job here. It wrote a short version of one of the well-known stories of struggles that Bisping went through in his career, where he suffered a severe injury and he had to pretend that he was less injured than he was so that he could continue fighting professionally. And it was pretty good overall, but I didn't like it that much. So I said good, but rewrite it to make it more personal and less formal. Use contractions and keep sentences and paragraphs short, but tell the whole story. And it did a much better job this time. So just as a quick example, we'll look at the intro. The first intro it wrote was, they don't know the full story. They just see the headlines, the memes, the trash talk. They see a brash Brit who somehow, against all odds, became the UFC middleweight champion. But what they missed was the fight he had long before he stepped into the octagon. Then the rewritten intro is, they saw the headlines, the highlight reel knockout, the trash talk, but they missed the real story. It's much better. It's much punchier. It's much more natural sounding, much more concise. And after that, I decided to try having it design a couple images for social media. And since Bisping is well known for only having one functional eye, he actually lost vision in one of his eyes due to an injury in mixed martial arts. I thought it would be interesting to characterize him as a cyborg with a robot eye. So I had Gemini generate an image of that. This is what it came up with. And then I just made the same request, but said, make it look like Michael Bisping. And it really doesn't look like him at all, but that's okay. I've got other tools for creating visuals. Now let's go through the ChatGPT example. So I did the exact same initial prompt, and it came up with some very similar ideas, but it had slightly different angles on some of them. So it said fight style breakdowns, which is a little bit different than fight analysis, which is what Gemini suggested. It has a similar suggestions with MMA meme parallels to fitness struggles. It has a what if fighters trained like you comedy sketch idea, which I actually really like, but it's not something that I can dive into right away. And then it has combat sports news and challenges inspired by fighters. And combat sports news and fight style breakdowns are actually two things that I've already started doing with this brand as content on its YouTube channel. And so I followed up with, I like idea 1. Can you recommend? And idea 1 was the idea about making videos breaking down fights and styles. So I said, can you recommend 5 upcoming fights and 5 recent past fights it could apply to? Explain why they are excellent candidates. And it gave me 5 upcoming fights and 5 past fights, and they were all really good examples. In fact, this Dricus Duplessis and Hamzat Chimaev one is a fight that just happened last night. I'm recording this on August 17th, and they just fought last night. Hamzat won the belt, and I actually did a breakdown for that fight the day before it happened. And ChatGPT actually gave me a bunch of really good info here, so I might use some of this for future videos. And then my next follow-up prompt was, and since I had already created that video, I said, I have now created and published a video analyzing the upcoming fight. My overall analysis is the fight can go either way, and I gave it a brief idea of what I said in the video, and then I said, give me 10 hooks I could use in organic social media posts to draw attention to my channel. And it gave me 10 hooks. About half of them were pretty good, and so I said, write a post for hook number 7, and then I said, make it longer in plain text. And then it came out with a pretty good post. And the reason that I say that these prompts create content machines is because once you get to this point, once you've gone through a little bit of discovery and you've come up with some good content types and some good ideas for those types, now I can just say, okay, generate more ideas. Okay, write a post based on this one. Okay, write posts based on these. I can start having it draft weeks of posts at a time. In fact, that's really easy to do with Gemini, because with Gemini, I can export what it writes directly into Google Docs. So I can have it come up with a few ideas. So I can have it come up with a week's worth of ideas. I can refine those ideas. I can have it draft all of those ideas in one place and then just export it right into a new Google Doc. So, and this video is probably going to be like less than 15 minutes. So in less than 15 minutes, you should be able to take this prompt and turn any AI assistant like ChatGPT or Gemini into a content creation machine for your business. If you have any problems and you need help, feel free to reach out to me directly via my website, or you can leave a comment on the video, or if you get on my email list, just reply to any of my emails. I also asked ChatGPT to do the same image generation, and I really liked the second one where I asked it to make it look like Michael Bisping. It doesn't look that much like him, but it's enough like him that it's pretty cool. So I might actually have to use that for something. Remember to use the link in the description to visit this landing page and sign up for my email list, so you can get access to the prompt that we use today, as well as 30 plus other really awesome marketing and writing prompts that you can use with any AI assistant. I am primarily using Gemini right now, but I still like to test things on multiple AI assistants, especially when I'm working on a new series of prompts. So I did today's video on both ChatGPT and Gemini. They're both working great, but you should be able to use these prompts with basically any AI writing assistant that you might prefer. Remember to like the video and share it with anyone who might find it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.